What is it? What is it, Tanya?
I'm Pastor David.
Hey, how you doing?
Nice to meet you.
Auntie Tanya, this is Greg.
Oh, hello.
Hey, how you doing? Very nice to meet you.
Okay, so we're going to start over.
Sweetie, have a seat. We can grab up the chair. And I'll get you guys some headphones. Tanya's taking the show.
Okay, Tanya is trying to start the show. Miko, I'm glad that you're here because I know that you're interested and you probably know all
Not
this stuff
interested.
about Black History Month because these two over here are a whole different level.
A whole nother level.
Okay. So, and Miko, I'm sure that you're trying to. So this is about Black History Month and the origin of it, and it actually, Black History Month actually began in 1915, a half a century after the 13th Amendment abolished slavery in the United States. And it was Woodson and Moreland, the founder of the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History, that dedicated this research to promote and achievement by Black Americans. And so this group sponsored a National Negro History Week in 1926, choosing it to be the second week in February, coinciding with the birthdays of Lincoln and Douglas, Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglas. What is going on? Did y'all hear anything I said?
Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglas after the Emancipation Proclamation.
In 1915. Oh,
After the 13th.
Not 1915.
Oh, Lord.
1915.
So, tell Lori Fisher about this. I'm gonna tell Lori, don't leave me in charge of what y'all know more. This is more than enough.
Let's see.
So, in the 1960s,
So in the 60s, what happened in the 60s?
Miko, so I'm gonna talk to Miko. In the 1960s, Miko, as you know this because you know SC taught you all this good stuff. In part of the civil rights movement, growing awareness came more of Black identity and Negro history, and it started to spread among the college campuses.
Right.
Okay.
It did. The 60s is like,
Did you say start to spread like a disease around the
I
campus?
said no. The Black identity started. No, this is really serious because
Okay, yeah, we're listening.
because this is the problem. People don't know their history, and they don't know. They be celebrating stuff, and they don't even know the origin of it and how it generated, right? And so we need to know this. And so, so actually, in 1976, President Ford recognized Black History Month. He started the month because at first we started as a week, and then he recognized a month, calling upon the public to seize the opportunity to honor the neglected accomplishments of Black Americans. And so that's when it came into a whole month. Now, in 2020, it's crazy because when you look in 2020, the theme for Black History Month is African Americans and the vote. And it's funny that we're talking about this because we were granted rights to vote after the women's suffrage. We were granted rights to vote after men got their rights to vote. And still, years later, which is almost 100 years later, we're still talking about African American and their rights to vote. And so they're taking this Black History Month to try to pump this back up because they said there's this low poll rate with African.
It's an election year also.
And it's the election year, so they're really trying to get, us to vote. So, that's the history of it. I'm glad I was able to share that with the chat.
Thank you.
Because you guys are amazing. So I guess the question is it serving its purpose? Do you think Black History Month is serving its purpose? What does it mean to you? And I'll start off with me. I think this came up with a colleague of mine where we were talking, and I just don't know, like, either I'm not in touch with what's going on in the city, or it's not that prevalent, but I just don't know, like, what we are actually doing for Black History Month besides running all these movies on BET. You know what I mean? I don't, and for the city of Inglewood, it's nothing that I see advertised. Either I'm removed from the fanfare of it or something, but it's like we have this whole month. We're the only race that has a month to celebrate, or that's
28 days.
yes,
It's 29 this year.
It's 29 this year. It's the shortest month, but it's still a month, right? Some people have a day, or like Cesar Chavez Day, Martin Luther King Day, but we have a whole Black month. But what are we doing to celebrate the month, and what does that mean to you? And so that's a question I have.
Yeah, for me, I think it's more so celebrated. Well, as a kid, it was very celebrated, like festivals, like stuff to do.
now I think it's more so based on like social media.
Mhm.
So like at least on Twitter, like when Black History Month, like all month we're just like we'll talk about certain things, or there's articles being dropped or circulated. Like we celebrate it that way. Like, oh, look at a list of all these Black inventors.
Yeah,
And
right.
like,
I see
yeah,
that.
so information is distributed, I think,
Differently.
through social media now,
Mhm.
as opposed to it being like, let's get together and let's actually do something. Which I think is not necessarily a good thing, but it's also not bad as well, because it's not like it's not being discussed or talked about.
Mhm.
I just think it's a bit more powerful if people can get together and kind of show Black appreciation for Black Americans in general. That's kind of just my take on it. But I do think it's really important to have it. It's just like really refreshing. Like,
To know when invented stuff. Like, I'm gonna have to give
I mean,
a
but they
little
tell
bit
me the
of
same
props to
thing every
Google.
year.
How do you
Mhm.
guys feel about Google?
that Google video was so good.
I'm
Oh, see,
sorry.
I didn't see
Yeah,
that. See,
it's
that's what I'm
wonderful.
saying. What was
It's
it?
wonderful.
Oh my gosh, it was so good.
What is
They just talked about like all of the
Everything.
important Black people, and
Yeah.
it would be nothing in America without Black people. Like sports, like every field.
Every field,
I
I'd have to give it to Google. I have to give
It was
Yes.
real good. It was like one of the.
I haven't.
It's awesome. You gotta
What
see
is
it.
So Shelly, give us the history. You know your celebrity said, gal. Give us the lowdown on the Google piece.
Oh,
Because if me and Tanya are in Gregory aware, we should.
Yeah, and
unaware. You haven't seen it?
I have not
I
seen
was
the video on Google.
Oh wow!
I've
It's
seen
it's
it.
actually a commercial, but it's a large segment of a lot of different Black people in history and what they have done. Correct,
Uh-huh.
Miko?
Yep.
Like, what were some of your favorite parts of it?
I was seeing the Serena Williams piece, and then like just like the sports pieces. I was like, oh wow, like this is like really important.
It was, yep.
Yeah, it's just like a lot of just important Black people just throughout more so
History.
entertainment history. Yeah.
And what they've done, different things, whether it's sports, whether like just showing how talented we really are. And Google actually
Okay.
dedicated
Dante's gonna get it up.
um,
Get it up.
a
Yeah.
commercial, and I think it's awesome.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, you have Beyonce. This is like her best performance for Homecoming.
Amazing.
Got Prince.
Purple Rain. I've been on my Purple Rain.
John
Get
Mhm. Maya.
Maya, Jordan,
Mhm.
Serena,
Mhm. Misty
Misty.
Copeland.
Mhm.
Simone Biles.
Mhm.
LeBron. And then Howard's Homecoming.
Gregory Hines,
Mhm.
All right.
Kendrick Lamar.
Mhm. I forgot his name.
Alright.
Lil Nas X. That's the name.
Yeah, but I'm
The
gonna
most
play
searched drag queen.
But
The,
I'm gonna play the devil advocate.
the most. They're saying they're like the most searched.
See, I think this is good.
Yay!
Mhm.
But look how long the commercial is. It's.
I
like-
think it's just like
Right there.
just the things that are being Googled, and then this is what comes up.
I know.
Okay.
Mhm.
I know. But it's to me like that Valentine's Day type of stuff. It's
It
like we
is.
should celebrate because it's the day.
Right.
Why
Yeah.
we can't celebrate it
All
all
year.
year long.
Right.
And I'm like, some of these people, even though the video is good, and I'm looking at it, I think that it is good, but what is that really, that video, what does it do for Black History Month besides, it shows you stuff that you already know unless you are just not.
They don't know. That's
Who's
the thing.
they?
Our white counterparts. They don't know a thing.
They know Serena and LeBron.
They know- like, they know
Whitney sung
them.
the national anthem.
Right, they know them, but I think this is a reminder, letting them know, like, y'all, we make the culture here. Don't forget it. Like,
Yeah.
we make a lot of
Contribute
things.
to it a lot.
We contribute a lot. So here's a reminder of this is what we do this, just for the month, of course. Because also, they just like to forget stuff. They always want to forget things.
That we
They
were
want to
part of the
erase
problem.
history. Exactly. They just want to erase history all the time. And it's like, we are as American as apple pie. Like, we are as American as you are. We go hand in hand. We started this country just like you did. Well, we actually built it. Y'all just sat back and really hung out. But, you know what I'm saying? So I think for them, it's kind of showing, like, oh, wow. Like, oh,
History
look at the
makers.
Black people there. That's kind of how I see it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it
But is
disappoints
that,
me.
right, is that a disparaging scenario
Yeah,
for
I think
us?
it's disappointing because, well, we know that we still are a minority. If they were to do the stuff that white people did, they were probably more people because the population is bigger. But I think that you just start narrowing it down to celebrating it for a month, and then it means that other months that's not important. And so why couldn't it be that everybody's heritage or whatever it is just celebrated all throughout the year?
Right.
And I think it's okay that we have a month, but even as Black people, I don't know what I'm doing different for the month.
Right.
Oh,
So I'm not doing anything different for the month. I'm like, oh, it's, you know, you see these memes going around, it's Black History Month, don't talk to me like that, it's Black History Month, respect me. No, respect me and don't talk to me like that in December. You know what I mean? So I'm not sure how and if I should be doing something different, we could talk about that, but I'm not doing anything different for Black History Month. I don't know if you guys are.
Right. I think for me, at least,
Are
like,
you boycotting the nail place for Black
Right.
History Month?
No, I go to a black girl now.
Oh,
Yeah, me
good.
too.
I've been
I
going
do
to a
too.
black girl for like
Oh,
6
see.
months now.
I do too.
Black owned nail shop.
Oh, nice.
Gardena.
Nice.
I
Yep.
think like everybody has to
Gardena.
do their part in their own way.
Right.
Like for me at least, like I work in a predominantly Latinx school, so like for this I do it all year round, but specifically for this month we're reading Autobiography of Malcolm X. So like just they have so many questions about like Black culture, especially like civil rights. So all the questions that they have, I just take the time to really just answer them and just be very transparent with them about everything. So at least at that point, say, okay, well I'm doing my job. At least I know these kids are gonna know the truth about these things.
They know something.
Right, and they're not gonna just, you know, like, it's really concerning. They'll be like, oh, was Malcolm X a slave? I'm like, no, slavery ended in 1865. Like, no, he was not a slave. Like, those type of things where, like, they genuinely do not know. So, I think for that, it's, like, taking the time to really, like, show them. Like, just, they just have no concept of, like, time or anything. They just think, like, Civil War, and then World War II, and then here we are now. They don't have a concept. They don't understand like each segment of it all. They don't even understand it for the concept of themselves as Latinx people in America either. So I think that like I just take the time to really show them like this is what it is. But also I tell them I'm like you have to be lucky that you're getting this education here because I had to spend a lot of money at UST to understand this and learn this. But you're giving it you're being given it for free, and also like you're being taught it truthfully and not fake. Like like how do we only know about just Rosa Parks? Like that's like the one thing. Oh, Rosa Parks is this. Did you know like Rosa Parks did it like 40 times and she had to keep doing it until she got it? About I forgot her name at the top of my head, but they had this other young lady do it
Was
before her.
14. She was
Yeah.
like 14 years old, but she was
But she was pregnant, so they couldn't. It was just a bad look. Like people don't know how systematic and meticulous it was for the civil rights movement. It wasn't just like a thing that just like popped up.
Right.
Yeah. So little things like that, like we make them have a Socratic seminar, like who do you agree with more, MLK or Malcolm X? Like, and we make them argue, go through like their speeches.
That's good.
And
See,
pinpoint
you're
those
doing
things.
something. I ain't doing nothing.
Right. But it just isn't what I do.
Today.
What you guys doing? What you doing for Black History Month?
Talking to y'all about Black History Month.
I'm Black History Month.
Just being
I
Black.
had to do better.
I'm just Black all the time. What about you, Greg? How you doing tonight?
I'm doing great tonight.
Awesome. Welcome to the panel tonight, Greg.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So, are you doing anything specific or different for Black History Month?
I'm not.
What does it mean to you?
Black history. I think Black History Month is definitely very, very important. But to kind of piggyback off what you saying, what's the difference between now and December or
Right.
June?
Right.
You can't say, hey, I just want to be respected in February. You can respect me in June too.
Well, there's Juneteenth.
Yes, there.
You know?
Respect you on Juneteenth, Miko said.
So I feel like it should be, it should be treated as a year round because Black history is American history.
It is. It's significant.
Who built the country?
So we should just have this dance all the time, right? I mean, is it just a fanfare, as you said earlier?
Yeah, I
Tanya?
think,
Is it-
we go back to our Black families and stuff that we talked about on previous shows. It's just like it's almost feel like we can't do anything consistently. We take these moments and we just take them, and then when March 1st comes, Black history is not as important depending on, for Miko, if she's teaching it, or for Shelley, if you're, reading about it, you're seeing something. But it's like for the population, it's just that month. It's like the flavor of the month, right? We're talking about Black History Month. And I really appreciate, and I just feel, I don't know if I want it to stay or go away. I just want to feel like we're doing something. Is there a festival? Is there something? No one's hyped up for me. And I'm just talking about for the city of Inglewood. No one's hyped up in the city of Inglewood talking about, oh, you gotta go to this. or we're having this at the local parks, or such and such, or the church is having this, or maybe I'm just not in that group to see it.
Right.
But I'm not seeing anything where you see this community pouring out in excitement because we're doing something and celebrating and reliving and sharing and programs and stuff like that. I'm not seeing it. Now, when the kids were in school, we saw it all the time.
Right.
But as they come out to school, you don't see it in the communities. And I just think, is that something that should be occurring?
Nico, what do you think?
I think it should be occurring in the communities, but also we have to recognize like the population of each community. Like as we can see now, like Inglewood isn't as black as it used to be.
Right.
It's still very black, but it's not as black. Like Compton is not as black as it used to be.
Right.
Like Long Beach is not as black as it used. Like all these cities are not as black as they used to be. So there's no stakeholders really there to pioneer a lot of these things. Like who are our councilmen? Who are our councilwomen? Like it's more so doing the community-based work. If you want something, you got to be. If you're a citizen, you got to get in there. Like,
Yeah.
I want this festival. We want to do this. So we have to, I think, band together and really start meeting with other stakeholders to kind of create things for ourselves. Because here we are, like saying, like, why isn't there anything? Instead of like, not even instead of, but here we are. That's the first step. Asking why isn't there this? The second step is let's make it.
You're right.
How are we gonna make
What
it
you gonna do
happen?
about it, yeah.
Right. So I think that's also this is like a place of discovery. It's like, oh, like there isn't anything happening, but like
Is it
let's
maybe
make something
perhaps
happen.
social media has played a role in that?
Well, they're spreading it. They're
You
spreading
know what I'm saying? Maybe that is the replacement, if you will, or an extension thereof.
The effect of
Maybe.
being in the digital age,
Right.
you know.
Right. Right.
You can even kind of apply it to the same thing with kids. How many kids do we see outside now?
Mm-mm,
You know,
none.
when, you
Yeah.
know, when I was small, I would go outside, ride my bike, I would, get dirty. You know, now I can count on one hand how many times I've seen a kid playing outside in the last probably 6 months. You know, so I feel like that's just an effect of, just the digital age.
Correct. Got it. Sign of the times, Tony. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's a true point, I guess. Because there is a lot on social media, and maybe like you're saying, that has substituted just more public
The parades
and all that stuff. I mean, you have
Was
your
it-
King Day parade, but maybe that's replaced. That's what I mean, replaced the activities in the community. Because if I go on Facebook, I mean, there, who made the curling irons and who made this, and you see it strolling through. And I guess for the people that don't know nothing about that, right?
Right.
And that's new for them, that's a good thing. But I don't know if it should be more or less. That's why I'm asking this to the panel. I don't know if it's a month, we deserve it, we got it, and we just go with it for the month, or should we be doing more? I don't know. I don't know what the answer is to that, because no one else has a month, so I really don't have it to compare to, like, say, the Latino
So
community.
they do. Theirs is in September.
Who?
The Latinx community is in September.
Oh, what do they do? It's national.
See, it is national. See, this is the thing. Like nobody talk about it. Ours is just the most well known, which is why they be mad. They be pressed at all our stuff.
Edgar Bain
Like Gina
Bonner says
Rodriguez.
let's
Are you
create
familiar with her? The actress from Jane the Virgin. Like she acts like she's down for black people, and she's not. Like she wild. I think she's not secretly. She's jealous of black people and how black people are kind of the first of the people of color to get stuff. That's what she thinks. Right? So when it comes to like film and like media, like black people's stories are heard after white people's stories. So I think a lot of people in the Latinx community get a little upset with that. But like she was trying to, in LAUSD, she was trying to go around and speak during Black History Month. I'm like, you're not black.
Right.
You're not a black woman. Like you're not Afro-Latina, you are not. And like her father is like Gabriel's color. No, her father's very fair skinned, like no curl pattern, like he just looks like a Latinx man. And she goes, well, my father's very dark skinned, my father's black. And we pulled this man up, we're like, no, he's not.
Oh,
Right, yeah. So the
imitation of life.
right. So for her,
Dante
like for her, like it's like an intrusion of it too. And also sometimes people get really mad and jealous. There's this one group, I forgot the name, Fifth Harmony. It was like an R&B group, and her name's like Camila Caballo. And there was one black girl, her name's Normani, and she's getting a really good career now. Like, she just did one of the songs for the soundtrack for the Harley Quinn movie with Meg Thee Stallion, and her career just blowing up. And she was the only black girl a part of this group, Fifth Harmony. And the girl, like today, it was found out that she tweeted like I don't know what the big hubbub about, like black is beautiful, like black is really not that beautiful, like stuff like that is being said about
And a
black
beat down
people.
was not called.
right. So the thing
No.
is like it'd be like y'all they be hating and it just be like
Yeah.
wild.
But
Like,
Edgar Bang Bonner, hey Bang, Bang says we need to do Black History 365.
That's what I'm
Black
saying.
History 365, that's a nice new get down. I like that, Bang. We're gonna talk about it.
But the-
Hey,
I think
See,
the
I didn't
way
even know it was a Latino month.
it is
there's a
September.
Latino month.
It's September.
Yeah.
Because you're not Latino.
You're not Latino.
This,
Yeah.
And they do not
Hispanic
like,
heritage.
and they do not like that we get
Hispanic.
more notoriety on our month
Well,
than
they get more days.
They do. They get 31.
I'm just telling you what they don't like.
They don't
Yeah, they don't like the notoriety. No, they don't.
What's that?
Like our stories, I think, are being told more
Right.
than theirs are.
Right.
But also, it's just like we just been here a little longer than y'all. And
Well,
also, we just
yeah.
get treated a little more wild than y'all. So just let us have it for just let us have it.
Yeah.
That's my biggest argument because it's like, do you know how many Asian and Latinx people can assimilate that like way faster than we can? Like they just simply can. It's ridiculous. Not ridiculous, but if you want to just pull it up, we can just look at college admissions. When I got admitted to SC, it was 4% Black, 13 to 16% Latinx. So I'm just like, what are y'all talking about? Y'all not being treated fairly. Like I want to, like I get it. No, I don't want to say it like that, but to a certain degree, we can all start the oppression Olympics if we want to. Like we being oppressed more. But it's like, yeah, y'all are taking L's, we are taking L's. Let's come together. Like we shouldn't have that sort of mentality.
Yeah.
Which is what I try to do in the schools with the Latinx kids. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna let you sit here and talk about Black people like that. Like, that's just not how it's going to be. It's not going down that way. Like we're both struggling. So,
Right.
like, and I'll tell them the truth too. I'm like, yeah, yes, this was Mexico. California sure was. And I'll just be like, yeah, America did y'all wild. Just took y'all land and raised the taxes, and y'all couldn't afford to live here, had to leave, and go down south. And like I just tell them the
That's what
truth
it
too, and
is.
they'll be like, oh, and I'm like, yeah, when it comes to immigration, this is happening. And I'm like, honestly, a lot of y'all turn y'all back on each other. Y'all want to say Black people turn their back on each other? They will really turn their back on each other in a heartbeat.
Come to
Like,
the
why is
fact.
like at least for the Cuban community, why are so many of them Republican? Like what? It's ridiculous. They love Trump. They love him. They love him to pieces, and it's just like they turn their backs on each other. It's just a mess.
Well, that's a trough that I don't want to continue to go down. So we're going to just take this beautiful piece of a ship here on the Poetry of Justice show and get right back on our Black History journey. So I don't really want to go down that we're not. So anyway, I think we're kind of finding out time that on a personal note, what does it mean to each and every one of us? Greg, it means name things to you. We have millennial stance, but what I would like to see, Dante, come on around from the bud. Let us know, or I'm gonna just bring this over to you. And you tell me what it means to you. How do you feel about Black History Month, baby?
I was thinking the other day, like it always seems like we're under attack during Black History Month. Like there's just nothing positive that I see in the media of Black people during Black History Month. It always seems like there's some type of drama that comes out, some type of huge story, or something to distract the celebration part.
Like Dogface?
What's Dogface?
Oh, no, but see, this is another conversation
yeah,
we're gonna have to have a different day.
But you see,
Right.
You have to go to
But now that's a part of it because, yeah, Gail said what she said. Yeah, Snoop said what he said, and they both have a problem. But it's like, it's all being done on a month where it's supposed to be celebrating each other. Like that's what the conversation is two Black people arguing, and that's what it is in Black History Month. And then it's next week it's somebody. What was another thing? Just some image of
Jesse.
Jesse Smollett.
Yeah, he's there. He's being indicted.
You see, it's like
See, we just drug down to
there's
the
only
ground, y'all.
4 weeks in the month. It's not even a 5-week month, so it's just like the whole entire month is always just some media crap or somebody arguing or somebody doing something. So it's
But
never.
don't they do
something.
that
Terry
all the
Crews,
Not
what
just
he
on
did to
everywhere.
Gabrielle.
It just
Gabrielle
seems-
Union.
I don't know, maybe my
It just seems like-
perspective is more of a positive perspective on it. I don't know.
Tell
Don't
me,
we argue
Shirley.
365 days a week?
We do. I think what we have to learn how to do, at least
Why are
Black
we
men and
picking
Black women, is
February
to
to
get
be,
together.
I mean,
To act right?
Yeah,
Just act right?
It's the whole year. Act right.
Yeah.
Act
Why
right,
are we
act
saying
right.
it's happening?
Act right.
Right, you know what I'm
365.
saying? Yeah, I'm like, we do that all the time. Like, we.
Is it disheartening, Shelley?
I think it's one of those things where it's like, let's say like when your manager comes to observe, right? It's like, it's wild in here majority of the time. But when the manager comes, I need it to be in order.
Right.
All eyes are on us. We are on center stage. Let's get it together, pull it together in the back. That's kind of how
Be
I
on
think
time,
we're looking at it.
On time.
Right?
Be on
We
time.
should have this mindset all year round, of course.
Right.
But I think that's kind of how we feel about Black History Month. It's like we want to be portrayed in the best light all month long. Is how we want to be perceived.
We have to act right then.
And then, but see, we don't know how
I'm
to.
just saying, right?
We don't know how. We wild.
We gotta act right everything.
We gotta act right then. I mean,
That's a big
if
one,
we want
right?
to do something more, or with, I mean, I feel like at first we weren't happy with the fact that we weren't even in the history books and then how they changed the books. Now they're doing that. Now we were upset because nobody celebrated Martin Luther King. Now he has a day. Then now he has a street.
Streets, every state.
You know, now we've had a
Every
black
city,
president. So
yeah.
to me, I don't know. It's more of a positive thing for me, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think
I
it's
choose
a
to-
positive month.
I
I do my best to be as positive during this month.
Me too.
Yeah, but even
But
just the whole year,
all
like
year long,
reading books, like everybody should just go ahead and read a book about Black people, learn something new, keep yourself learning. I think, because also Greg's friend had tweeted something. He was like, we shouldn't even have Black History Month or something like that. He was saying it because I don't know what his line of argument was, but it was dumb. It was something real dumb he said. But at the end of the day, what I was saying is that like maybe we come from a culture, at least for me, my parents taught me about Black people all the time. Like it wasn't just being taught at school, like it's being taught at home. So I'm learning this correctly to the point where I would like challenge teachers on like the truth.
Right.
So I don't think a lot of Black people have that or had that, and they don't, right? So I think what we need to start doing is just teaching each other. Like we gotta
Teaching each
start
other.
teaching.
You know, and I took that from the, honest to straight real, from the premise of Roots. The really Alex Haley's Roots, the televised version, but of course the written work was much more in detail. How you had to get our children in a little
To
community.
know the history.
Because how you gonna know where you're going if you don't even know where you come from?
Yeah.
If you don't know that these people' intention is to eliminate us and take us
Right.
completely off the frickin' globe, how you gonna win and how you gonna maneuver and shake and rattle and roll, right? How you gonna do that?
Unless your
If
parents
you don't know, so-
teach you.
And
Yeah.
to a point where almost to a fault, both of them were aware, but for Miko, it just was
Took her to a
a
different
moth to a
level.
flame. Miki was, I mean, my baby was only in 3rd grade being quote unquote dubbed Miko the Mouth because Miko was gonna challenge anyone. She took everything that we trained and taught her, literally, which is a good thing, but it was so young. You got this little powerhouse, and she's challenging her teachers about what Brother Malcolm had to say. You know,
correct.
so I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, Miko.
Tone it
Tone
down.
it down just a little bit. Or, you know, you never know. When she's writing the paper, you're like, oh, shit, okay. Yeah, I'll be down to the office, not a problem. But that's really what we have to do. And like Miko said, do we get that enough anymore? I'm thinking like the Black Panther Party is what it is. You know what I'm saying? You got to get these babies and we got to teach them and train them because it just is what it is. It's a 3rd world country, and that just ain't changed.
Right.
It's only getting worse.
Yeah, one thing that I feel like happens every time we try to come together as a community to really teach each other is that there's so much pushback from the government. They're very fearful. Just think about Marcus Garvey,
Which is
and
the same
UNIA.
way we got to do it
Right.
like the Underground Railroad concept.
Right, I think like well, of course we can always try to do it underground. Right, they just watch so much of what we do. At least I'm thinking more so because I implore all of you guys to watch Who Killed Malcolm X. Like you guys are gonna learn so much.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
saw that come across Netflix. The other
It is
day.
so good. I watched it in one day.
I
It's so
saw it
good.
too.
It like you just learn so much
I
of
saw the
how
previews.
wild like the government. Like of course we all know COINTELPRO, but like they really just took it so far. Like they were all in this man's life and business, like for every little thing. So it's like I think sometimes a lot of us have become conditioned and kind of scared. Like our parents will be like, "Hey, like you know, tone it down," but it'll just be like, "Well." But it's just not fair sometimes. I think like when you want to speak up, then you're just knocked off or eradicated when you're speaking because you're too loud.
But I think if for me, I know, you know what I know, but I think the biggest thing was for you to know, for the knowledge
The
base
knowledge,
to be
yes.
there.
And
Yeah.
it should be taught by your parents.
Right.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
Because you
Your
have to
parents-
know. You just, you know, like I said, I don't know if it's to a fault, but I think our students have to know, and things like Mika was saying that she shares with these students, and they're not, you know, the children that she's working with are not all Black kids, they're of a different nationality, but they're being told, I think one of the most disturbing things for me currently right now, being a Black woman in America at this age and day and time and what's going on, is not only the disrespect that we have received from our white counterparts throughout history,
Mm.
but to now being and living in an age and times where we have people of other foreign descent people who've come to this country way after we were enslaved. And they came on the gravy train and we fucking paved the way for it.
Right.
And now you wanna break me off some effing disrespect.
Right.
So that's why I'm like, nah, we gotta change the whole get down on how this game gonna go. And if you gotta tax, whenever you need to tax, and let somebody know what time it is, where, you know what I'm saying, what time it really is for us as black people, I think we need to exercise that. Because I just, even me just feeling, you just feel the difference. I just feel the difference in just like going out shopping and the looks and the, what's wrong with you? Now I'm like, I gotta size up, like, you know, for what? You know what, before you kinda like, okay.
And people think that, people are saying that
I don't know.
actually changed with Trump, but I don't know if it was just always there, it was just more, it was
Now it's just, I can just do whatever I want because
Right.
he's in there doing
Right,
you know.
right.
They got a little more brave.
Absolutely,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
got little,
That's
little,
all. But how they feel
It's
was
always been there.
absolutely.
Trump didn't just come in,
Right.
and they, oh, I feel this way. No,
They just get, they're just a little bit more bold with it,
Right,
yeah,
right.
so,
You just show out.
yeah.
That's cool.
That's cool.
I don't know what they think we gonna do while you showing out. Like, I'ma just sit there and get showed
Yeah,
out.
right,
But-
right.
Now, if
Because
we
it ain't
see
gonna happen.
Like that down here, now imagine what they see it, you know, see what they see down south. With the people down south. Down
Right.
here is a whole different
On other
Oh, yeah.
ball game, just coming from somebody who actually grew up in the south. So I did kind of see, you know, see both worlds, you know, grow half my life here, lived half my life down there.
Where,
So,
where, so,
Atlanta, Georgia.
okay,
Mm.
I'm going in next week.
So, Greg, you wanna do that little?
Oh, you know what? Yeah, so I was able to pull up that tweet. He started to say, basically, he said, I agree with Daryl Davis about Black History Month. We need to get rid of it. So I asked him why. His response was, we will learn about Black history for 1 month and only about the same handful of people for that month. Black History Month is no more until next February. Black history is American history, so it should be taught year-round. I see where
He's
he's coming
The
from
thing
with that.
is, but
But
the
do
thing is,
something
as
about
an educator, like who knows the standards, that is not required. They don't require that. They're not teaching that at all. Like to the point where you have to be. I was only able to really learn about some of these things was because I was in AP US History, and my teacher decided he had to do it because of the AP exam and how obscure it is, how many things could be on it. That's the only reason. Like how many people know who Ida B. Wells is? Not that many, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, who are 16, 17 years old. Not that many people know that.
Right.
So what I'm saying is, it has to be taught at home.
Mm-hmm.
History has to be taught at home. You have to take the
I agree.
time to teach it because there's so many things you can only teach in the school. Also, the state regulates what's being taught,
Right.
right? The government regulates what's being taught. So it's also about funding. Can we afford new books that has new information in it,
Mm-hmm.
right? Can we get the access to these resources? And our kids go to schools, unfortunately, that are underfunded based off of their like the house income, right?
Mm-hmm.
So all of those things are just knocking it down. So that's why I totally disagree with that. This may be the only time children get to learn about it.
Exactly.
It should not be,
That's why I said I
but
look at
I
it
really
more
think for a lot of
positive
people,
spin on
this
it.
is all they get.
This is
Right.
In my response to him with that, I basically told him, just because Black History Month is officially recognized as only a month, doesn't mean it can't be taught year-round.
Yeah, and
know,
you do
what
something
you
about it
learn
instead of
in school
complaining.
is only one thing. What about what they learn at home? Just like she was saying, we need to take it upon ourselves
Yeah.
as Black men and women to teach our Black children
Yeah.
about Black history.
Mm-hmm.
We
And
also
so
have
on and
access
so
to
forth.
It's the internet. It's
We
everywhere.
got Google.
Yeah.
We got the big Google campaign, yes.
Just get on the computer. They're on it anyway. That's how I really
Right.
feel. And that's also another thing is that like, I think what parents should do is start like kind of looking at what their kids are doing on social media. Like make sure like there's history pages on Instagram, right? There's things like that where they can pop up and learn information.
Or the African American Museum. I have never been.
Cam, I love Cam.
But my son and his girlfriend went today for Valentine's Day. I mean, that was their way
Yeah,
of
we
celebrating.
went in January. Yeah.
Yeah, we went last month.
That was their
Yeah,
way
learning.
not just
something.
because of the month, but because it was
Yeah.
a date. You know.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, cute
Black
day.
lady.
I think I like what Miko said though, and that kind of changed my lens just a little bit
Mm-hmm.
about some people don't get it and that's the only time they do.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's probably true.
Right.
Because if you know, as Black people advance, they're really not keeping their kids in the inner city schools. They're sending them to private schools where that's not on the agenda, right?
Right.
Where it's just the Western civilization, just the white America, all that stuff. And so how do they get to the details of, you know, real true entrepreneurship that started back there, even though they didn't have the rights to the stuff that they made, but they were very creative and,
Right.
you know, just all the things and just, you know, Harriet Tubman, you know, all those things are coming out. But I think I like what you said. If there was a platform, I wish it was a platform for those who don't get it to have to mandate to see it. Like there was a way that they can just tap into something consistently
Right.
for education. I think that would be good. But I think we get it in parts, and we also get it depending on if our parents believe it was important, if the kids' parents believe it was important. There's a lot of blacks that disassociate with that struggle. There's a lot of blacks that just really feel like, you know, that I didn't have to experience that. I'm not here, and they kind of feel more comfortable with white America than they do with their own community. And so how it's the truth. It's just the truth. And so how do you continue to have this history to be perpetuated and know it? And so I think what you said was good, but how do we make that the platform?
Right. I think it just takes, I don't know how to make it consistent or like what to do, but just think of it like in the 50s. Like right now, for a book club I have with my kids, we're reading The Help. So we read The Help like a couple pages every day. And like white women will have their social clubs, right? Black people, I think we need to just create social clubs. We used to have them. Why aren't we still doing that? And that way, like a Jack and Jill sort of thing, right? Where we are taking our youth, like we are able to make them do, like not make them, or make them do these things so that they can learn, right? And also putting them in a better position in life, right? And like mentorship sort of thing, right? Just in general, like right now there are 9 black teachers at the school I work at. When I was in school, I went to school in Compton for that 1 year, all the teachers were black, but beyond that, in Long Beach, all the teachers are all white ladies. Like, I don't remember having black teachers like that. So I think just the fact that when you see people in different roles, it just opens your eyes up so much more.
And that's how I look at like the commercial and some of the other things, because there are some kids out there that are not getting it. They're not. So if it's this 1 month that they get it, at least they're getting something, because they're not getting it from home or they're not getting it in school. That's how I feel about it.
That's very true. It's all about advertisement as well, like, or a market, right? So what do we want to market to these people during this time? So, and like, it just goes back to us being in control of our own money, like all that type of stuff. So I do think like the more we demand access or keep access to our own history, the better it can be dispersed to our own people when we want to give it to them. Like, you got to get in there and get the information. They're not going to give you. Why would they want to give you information that's going to empower you? That goes against everything white America stands for.
Right.
Like, they are just in fear to give you that. They're not going to give it to you. You have to go find it.
You have to find it. You have to find it.
I mean, we do.
No.
I think about that all the time. I put my feet in other people's shoes before I like think about something. I'm like, you know, I see why they do what they do. It makes sense. When I'm scared of losing my power, I'm gonna make sure you don't have nothing.
You don't know
I'm
nothing.
gonna make sure you can't get a thing from me. Like, I'm gonna keep you there, and that's that, right?
And
So
you don't
it
need
makes
to
sense.
know. Yeah.
And you don't need to know.
That's what they.
And they are so far removed from understanding humanity that it's just like when you see somebody struggling, it's just like, well, you should have did something about it. But don't you understand that there's systems and structures in place so that they can't?
So that they can.
You can't. You can't lend your mind out of that, right? And one thing I learned, at least at college, is that I always have to provide facts and statistics for them to hear me. I can get up there and really give a nice, beautiful, tearful speech, and it's the truth about what I experience daily as a black woman. And they're gonna be like, "That's not true.
Right.
No, it ain't." And you be like, "What? How you gonna tell me?"
I'm the one.
And I'm listening to you, like you can tell me how you get down, how you live, and I'm really gonna be like, "Oh, that makes sense."
I'm not gonna tell you, oh, no, that
No, it doesn't happen to you. Like, stop complaining, shut up. Like, that's basically what you're doing. So it's like, so now I gotta go in here and pull the facts up. Like, people on Twitter are wild. They'll argue, these white people argue with you about the things that are true. But like, yes, black people have a high mortality rate with birth. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody's talking about, no, they don't. Oh, here's the numbers. All those numbers are not true. Where'd you get them from?
I've seen them argue about why there should be a White History Month. I've seen them actually say that, which makes zero sense, because you get that year right.
Every
But that
day.
just shows the
get that
tit for
365.
tat mentality.
Jealousy.
Right.
You got one, I got one.
Like, they do not like being told that they can't use the N-word. No, you can't.
I know.
They will lose their
Yeah.
mind.
Y'all, I'm really struggling right now. I have a coworker. She wild. She's one of those white women who have a huge like white savior complex, where they think that she used to work in Brooklyn. She's from Brooklyn. She's like, oh, I worked in the schools for Brooklyn, so she worked around a lot of black kids. So she always throws that out there. Now she's working in an all Latinx school. So she's the one who's doing Malcolm X. So I work with special education students, so I just work with the select population. So I don't really get to control what's being taught. I just have to support them on what's being taught.
Yeah.
So she asked me, she was like, okay, can you like help me out with a lesson on like the N-word because it's very prevalent in this book? And I'm like, yeah, of course, I would love to do that. She never reached out to me beyond that point about anything. I don't even know if she taught that lesson or not. So one of the students, my other coworker who teaches history for 8th grade, she's Latinx, but she's very woke. She's like, we don't use that word. She's like, we don't do that. They read to be a slave. And she was like, if you say this word, you are getting a referral. Like, she just does not, the kids know not to say that word. So the teacher, the white teacher in the English class, she reads the book and she's just saying the N-word in it. Well, and she has the audio book too, so it's no reason for her to say the N-word. So the kids were like, so they came back and they were telling all the black teachers, I was like, Miss said the N-word in the book. Like, she's not supposed to be doing that. Like, the kids even know. They're like, so now I'm just like, and all my other black coworkers, we're all like, why would she do that? Like, that's just ridiculous. Like, she's over here always talking about, like, how she understands all these diverse issues and topics and stuff, but you're going to go and do this because why? You feel entitled. You feel entitled to my struggle. You feel entitled to all of this stuff. You want to be the white savior. You want to teach about this. But it's like, I tell the kids, like, when we're reading the book, they'll ask certain things. I'm like, yes, I'm telling you this the truth because I know, because I'm black. So I can really tell you what's happening here. So I was like, Miss Space, can I sit down with you and talk to you about this? Like, she just can't. She won't, she can't, she will never be able to. Just like on your walk every day, I can't sit here and tell you what a Latinx person goes through. I will never be able to talk that talk and walk that walk. I just can't. Right? So let the people whose narrative it is tell it.
Right.
It's not your job to do that.
Story,
Yeah.
Shelley, how do you feel about other races using the N-word?
You can't.
You
You just can't.
You can't use it.
I've had somebody turn red in the face. Well, that's what we do. We do. No, you can't. You can't. And that is the problem, being told that you can't. Oh my God. He was losing oxygen.
Really?
Turning red, losing oxygen. I was like, no, you can't.
You can't. No, you can't use it.
You can't. You can't. You
What
cannot.
about you, Michelle? What about you,
You know, I still, my brother-in-law, that's all he used to say growing up. And it wasn't until I got older that I stopped saying it myself. And I think that it just shouldn't be used. Every now and then, I'll even slip and say it, and I'll become very uncomfortable.
Okay.
But I think that we need to stop saying it too.
You do.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, it's so embedded in our culture at this point, and it's ours.
Shit, my brain will call you
Because
in a
I
minute.
almost slipped up and said, I almost slipped up and said it.
Oh, shut up.
And the thing is,
I did because at one point it was so much, but it's
Natural.
like if it's our
That's true. I can see that.
it's our term of endearment, or it's our terminology.
My grandmother call you that in a minute.
But
My parents too.
My grandmother will call you one in a minute.
yeah, and I think that's okay. But I'm just saying, for
Just
me,
a cry.
sometimes I become uncomfortable for it because I'm holding people to a standard to not say it to us, but we can say it to each other.
but the
And
thing
that's
is,
just my
to
own personal
us,
opinion.
it's not that meaning. The
It doesn't
word
have the
means different
meaning.
things. There's so many contexts. The way it depends on how it
Look at
rolls
you.
off the tongue.
No, it's like
Just think of it as
you
the B
acting
word.
like a
Right.
okay.
Right, then you
that's-
can like, what's up, mom? Like, and it just it's used so many different ways. It's just it's just linguistic.
It's
Same
But
with the
you know,
B
it's
word.
funny because back in Atlanta, is your grandmother from Atlanta?
No, my grandma's
So
actually from Fayetteville, North Carolina.
but-
She's from the South too.
But in the South, they're okay with calling each other that.
Um,
But the South is really where it was kind of
yeah.
hard and difficult, and even when you go to like one of the Carolinas, the plantations and stuff are still up there, and the museum and the slave trade is right there, right?
In fact,
And
when I
so,
went to school, I went to Savannah State University.
mhm,
My school was built on top of a slave plantation.
mhm.
Matter of fact, when you look it up in maps, like on Apple, it'll default to so-and-so, whatever the name was, so-and-so plantation. You know, there's still plantations around.
I
city of
can't
Savannah.
go there.
And this
Not me.
plantation's still standing, where, people live in them now that you just,
So
no
it's
one
hard
hunts,
to
like none of
teach-
that.
you
I
know,
know
you-
somebody
it-
wanted to have a wedding on one of those plantations
Mm.
and was gonna have all Caucasian
should be.
people served.
Mm.
Excuse me?
I said one of my friends was going to have her wedding on one of the plantations and was gonna have all Caucasian people.
In reverse, she's gonna do
Yeah.
flip flop. I'm just
Good
get
for her.
allergic
Good
to
for her.
plantation.
Capital B for black.
That I was asking because it's always this mentality that West Coast African Americans have this different thought than East Coast, kind of the Southern ones, and Southerns are more sensitive to that slavery or continuing that language because it was like in the heart of back then.
Yep, all that is very,
So do they say it as much as is it as common language or term?
for black people.
back
very.
or they use
For
the
black
word
people?
they use it a lot.
I've, black people here, black people down south. I remember before I moved here, my grandfather actually told me, said, black people here, black folks here are different. We're not that different at all. I've lived both places, the south and here my adult life. Not different at all. Listen to the same music, same interests, do the same things. It's literally the same. The biggest difference you'll find is the accent, which even some of them don't even have accent. That's the biggest difference for me. That's it.
But they use the word
Yep.
out there common.
Regularly.
Yeah, when I went to Atlanta, it was just like, I felt it was even more of an excuse to really get on there and use the word. Because the thing is, it's like a black community, it's just all black people, right? It's just all black people there, so it's just like, oh, it's so great, refreshing. I can just be me today. I don't have to put on any face, I don't have to code switch. I can just have my fun. I can just be here today being black.
Ebonics.
Right, so it just feels really, I feel like, I understand, like that, and that's how you know how integral it is, because if it's if it's being used in an exclusively black space, it is our cultural thing. That's just what we do. Now, there's some things that Latinx people do, that Asian people do. I can't do it. I just probably, especially if they're like, hey, how I think of it is if you come to somebody's house and they're like, take them damn shoes off. We wear socks in this house. We don't wear shoes in here. I want you messing up my floor or whatever reason, right? I would take my shoes off because I'm respectful.
Right.
I'm gonna be like, oh, you're right. I'm sorry. I'm gonna take these shoes right off. I'll never wear these shoes in your house. How I feel is like, just don't use that word around me. They're like, no. Why?
Now, do you think that's due to age? Because my uncles and some of the older gentlemen that I know who may have been closer to slavery, they shiver when they don't.
Really.
They don't want to talk about the word. The men, I'm talking about the men. I had men say, it's just like, so I had a party and I had invited one of the doctors, he's an older doctor, and he almost couldn't even move during the comedian because the comedian used the word so much. And when you go back and look, that's just something that they decided they weren't gonna do in their family. And I don't know, because we're so twice, 3, 4, 5 times removed from it, and he was more intimate with it, with his family, but I'm talking about 70s and 80s, the men that I know, they don't use it.
Is it a part of our ownership though? Like later on, it's like, okay, you guys use that to beat us, as you were depicting.
Cause
Over the generations, we gonna take this.
It's
gonna
a thing of
desensitize.
reclamation.
You know what I mean? Yeah, you did this to.
so take it as
I'm
a
taking
power.
I think it's like reclamation, how women use the B word. Like, I
Right.
think it's literally that. Like, when a man calls you a bitch, it's like, no, you don't call me that as a man. You don't call me that. Amongst your girls, like, it's used differently, right?
It
Like,
is bitch.
bitch, hello. Right? And then it can be like, oh, this right? It can use that as an insult. It's an insult, and it's also a term of endearment. It's also a word that can connect women.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? That's how I feel about it. Like, for some women, it's like, oh yeah, I'm just using this word with my girls. Like, we just having fun. But then when the dudes are around and dudes want to come like, bitch, I'm gonna be like, what are you doing? No, you can't get in here and do this. That's how I feel with white people. Like, amongst my black people be like, nigga all day. And then when a white person comes, it's like, I can say it. You just don't sit there and eat your words. Don't say it, please.
I was gonna put like devil's advocate. Like, what about the black people that don't care if another race says, what do you
Then
do?
that's fine. They can say it around you. Don't get it twisted and say it around me because you'll get hurt. That's how I feel about it. Get your feelings hurt. So you need to just have just a decency. Maybe pull that person to the side. Hey, how comfortable are you with me using the N word? Just give me that courtesy. I can be like, oh, I don't mind. Or it can be a thing where it's like, you know what? Please
There's a lot of
respect me.
people that don't care.
Some really don't care.
And I be seeing 2 Asian people saying that. I be like,
There's a lot of people that really don't
it's
care.
like, my nigga,
Then some, now it's to the point where it's like trying to even uphold it is so hard. I feel like we lost. We just lost the battle. We just gotta get a new word.
We gotta get a new
Nigga,
one.
no, mark my words. At least in 10 to 20 years, that word is gonna be on billboards and be everywhere. Nigga, everywhere. Watch. I'm telling y'all, it's gonna be everywhere.
What'd you say? For how many years?
10 to 20 years. We just gonna be
Okay, I'll
using it
still
in
be here. I
marketing.
ain't gonna say- I was gonna say, I need to be gone. I need to be
We
gone.
probably been using it in marketing. It's gonna be probably in titles. We're probably just gonna be having a blast with this
Well,
word.
what about that girl? I know you know this one, Miko.
Mhm.
Some girl, she was just singing a song and she sang it part of the song and she had
That was Gina
apologized.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Yeah, it's Gina Rodriguez again. Here she goes. She won't stop. The thing is, right, but like she knows that, and it's like think of it. When you're a kid and you're in the car rapping a song, and you just be like, "Oh, I just can't say
Talking
that
about I'm
word."
Afro-Latino. No, you're not.
Right.
No, you're
But
not.
you know, even that, remember during that whole, when the news report came out on Kobe, and it was that white reporter who accidentally
the
said
Knickerbockers, yeah.
Knickerbockers, that she got fired. Are you saying, and I'm just playing devil advocate here, that, yeah, I heard they're fired.
Oh, good.
I
love it.
I didn't know she ended up getting fired.
I don't think she got fired.
Oh, I thought she did.
Let's check. Let's make
Yeah,
sure.
look it up and find
They don't
out.
be
Make sure
fired.
I
She
ain't
was trying to say
I was
Lakers
She
and
said
something
the
together.
Knickers,
So
I
she
don't
said.
know.
That was
So
a
she
piss
said.
poor excuse.
That was.
Chris is
And we just
outside.
supposed to
Just like Gail's
Just
excuses,
take
piss
it.
poor
So,
excuse.
so I wonder
Okay.
if it was a black person that
Okay.
said that. So let's look up to see if they got fired. 'Cause I thought the next day, because I was following, I thought she got fired, but I could be wrong.
She apologized.
Why
She
can't I go
apologized.
get the
But
dog?
I don't remember her.
If it had been a black person saying that, we would have been okay with it. Accidentally saying
I was
that.
like, now you should have said that on like that.
We would have just had to pull them into the house and say, "Hey, not in front of them."
Next time, don't do that shit.
They're like,
You know, when
"Girl."
you fuck up and you be like, players fuck up. You know what I mean? You be
Like I understand. It was just a little mix up. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Find out if she got fired.
we
'Cause
I
I
hope
know
she
she
did.
did.
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, I don't know, but
These days we're firing folks for it. They need to get fired.
Say, Chris,
I
It
agree.
doesn't look like she got fired. I don't say
It
she got
didn't.
fired.
I don't remember her getting
What was her name?
Because that would have been all over.
Allison Morris?
Chris is gonna kill her.
Did she get suspended? Did something happen?
Did something happen?
No, I don't think so.
Definitely not fired. I don't see her got
I
fired.
don't think she got fired.
I don't think so, Tiny Michelle.
She just
Okay,
apologized.
okay. Monique May
That's
is
it.
telling us the word was used to dehumanize us, so we should not use it. It is not a term of endearment, and the B word should not be used either, because the definition is a female dog. Why would you want to refer to each other as that?
That just, culture
It's
is culture and
individual.
words are words, and it's also individual.
It's-
Also, times change, things change. We can go down a list of things that older people's mothers would be like, why the hell are you doing or saying that? And here you are doing and saying it, and then we have our things in this generation that we just do and are comfortable with, and that we culturally claim.
Yeah, but I think you said something important. Your audience has to know you.
Right.
And if I don't want you to call me a bitch, then
I won't do
don't
it.
call me a
Or if I
bitch.
don't want you to use it around me, then don't use
Don't
it
use it.
around
And
me.
so
Absolutely.
everybody
Because I
has
do
their,
cringe when people use that word.
everybody has their own individual perspective and respect, and we cannot judge if that's okay for you and that's okay for you and that's okay for you.
Right.
Because we're all individuals. If you get down with it, that's fine. Don't judge me because I don't, or whatever it is. I think that's what happens, and just with everything. If I say something and it's not what you believe, then it's a big deal. Well, it's my fucking opinion.
Right.
And so I think that's what happens in the world in general. We have to determine what respect looks like for us. We have to draw those boundaries, and if my respect looks different from yours, it doesn't mean it's not a bad thing.
No, it's not.
But we make it a bad thing.
Yeah.
We make it a bad thing when people don't agree with your opinion. We make it a bad thing when people have their own opinion. And we shouldn't. I think that's what happens a lot, especially in the African American community. We're very opinionated, and when one gets further than the other, whatever, they think that what they say is the rule, and if you don't agree with it, now you're different. So now we want to block
Shun you.
Yeah, and that's what happens. So I respect what she says, and she should not allow that to happen around her.
Right.
And if somebody else is comfortable with it, because they may not think that it means that to them.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I understand there's some sensitivity around that. It's a sensitivity around that, and I respect your sensitivity.
Right.
I do agree. I can just tell you this before we get ready for our break. It was about, I was getting ready, we were preparing for our 10-year reunion. So, 10 years out of high So just re-entry into talking to one of the gals again in preparation for planning the reunion. When she got on the phone, she was like, "Hey Jackie, what's up, bitch?" Woo! Jack, it took me to like, I'm like, wait, hold. You know we don't even roll like that. We don't roll like that, dog.
He was like, huh? He was like this.
You haven't seen her since high school?
Whoa. No, I had not, girl. I was like, but she was saying it like
She's a little too comfortable.
term of endearment for her. It was like, Jackie, what's up, bitch? Whoa, I had to really, like you said, I know we were friends.
She's shaking.
But we cannot.
But I just don't like to be greeted that
Please,
way.
please, let's just don't. Let's
not start
don't
off
do
like
that. And
that.
she got really upset with me because I didn't like being called bitch.
Yeah.
And then she's a friend that you probably don't need to have because she
Yeah.
No,
She won't
really,
respect your
because
boundaries.
She doesn't respect your boundaries because the first thing I would have said, you know what, I'm sorry.
Right.
If you see that it makes somebody uncomfortable, like, oh, it made you uncomfortable,
You apologizing, yeah.
you apologize
And
for
don't
it
do it.
because,
Yeah.
and you don't
Respect
do it
it.
again. But then your next person, you have individual relationships with everybody. You know your boundaries with each individual person. That doesn't mean that I blur the lines because it's something I do with you. I cannot do it with you.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And
That's
so
right.
I think that's the bigger thing.
It took me off guard, Shelly, so you know. Anyway, guys, we're gonna get ready to. Chris has joined the panel. When Chris comes back, we've got some amazing stories, guys. We got a situation about some Valentine's Day love. Y'all not gonna get away from that. So we'll be back here on the Poetry of Justice Show with Jackie Ray Phillips here on Yax Radio and AccelerateRadio.net. Facebook, stay put. Shenanigan
That was
time.
great.
Shenanigan time, Shelly. See, down there, give us some good music. What Shelly got us listening to?
Y'all need to get a doorbell up front.
And how long you stand out here?
Oh, we
I
out there for a
heard you say this
little
was
bit.
one another one.
No, love.
I know
Shelly,
they
see,
do.
we've got
I was
special
like,
songs tonight. We've
First
got
time I
Dante
came
in
to
the
this
house.
house, I was
We're
like,
trying to do something.
This
He was radio show, he said.
Shelly gonna
Play next
Shelly,
to
it just looked like a scam when somebody died, like Lady Six of
So he
Blue.
told me one time
I thought that's what that was.
changed the whole show.
Get down to the show.
But he's right. We just gotta get a better
Valentine love. Anyway, guys, we don't have Lori G in the house tonight. We can't tell you where she is. She's in an undisclosed location. We usually have some ghetto rap music playing, but we're gonna have a nice, smooth and easy show going on tonight. We got that from the Big Flossie. I see tuning in. Big Flossie's in the house. Shelly C. Hey, Flossie. You know how they do on that G-Lou show on Wednesday nights with Big Flossie, Baron Stevenson.
You like this one.
Baron says tune in and get turned on, right?
That's
Is it what
right.
it is?
That's
My telephone number is area code 310-910-9676, extension 1. Give us a call, man. Hey, give us a Shawty, see you want to do this? What's up? I know you got free.
That's a jam.
Have a good time. This is right to the right.
What do you want to hear next?
My name is Greg.
The average white man, I love you.
Look at Johnny Michelle. You having a good time? I see Greg's first night in the studio with us.